New Orleans Airlift creates immersive and spectacular types of projects, and one of these being the Music Box, which really, it is an interdisciplinary and immersive project in that it brings in elements of art and music and architecture and design and creates basically a space that allows the viewer to explore and experiment in their own interactions with these structures. So it creates a kind of familiar space and taps into the idea of magical realism, and that you're able to walk into something that you might actually feel like you recognize these things as structures, as architecture, but then they're also able to be performed, and that you are able to touch and interact with them and create sound and music.
The Music Box came out of a collaboration that involved our friend Swoon from New York, myself, and Taylor Shepard. Our first idea was actually to build a single musical house, and we had this falling down old shanty kind of cottage in New Orleans, and we wanted to do something with the materials from it. So Swoon designed a house. Taylor, who's a sound artist, started thinking about how it would function, and I started thinking about how we would bring it to life. And in the course of thinking about this one house and making this model for it, we realized we really didn't know what we were doing. So I had the idea to have a experimental sort of prototyping stage of the project, and we called it the Music Box, and it involved, you know, bringing 25 artists together to sort of explore this notion of musical architecture that we'd conceived.
We decided to expand our programming at the Institute for Research in Art to encompass social practice and socially engaged projects that would help us expand and build new audiences and work more in the community.
We received an email in our inbox from Sarah Howard at the University of South Florida and the Institute for Research in the Arts, and it was just sort of saying, hey, we're interested in this project. Is there some way to bring it to Tampa? Is there some way to create an outpost here? And we love those kind of invitations, and so we quickly called back and started figuring out how we could bring it to fruition.
I immediately thought, whatever it is, yes, I want to do this. Initially, we had thought that the musical structures were going to be things that moved here to Tampa. So at that time, New Orleans Airlift was developing transportable structures. And so that was going to be a much different kind of project. So that was just moving them here, which would have its own challenges, but far less challenging than what actually happened was them coming here and building on site with local artists. So it was both more exciting and more challenging.
So one of the challenges with this project is really communicating to people what it is and recruiting people in that way. And I think that was kind of one of the things that brought people into it, was that maybe they didn't know what it was or what it was going to be, but they knew it sounded like something they wanted to be a part of. And so that was a unique kind of scenario where you could kind of entice someone to come and participate, the students and some of the other collaborators, even though they didn't really know what they were getting into.
The process for gathering all these repurposed materials came from a couple of houses that were on the site at the Mann-Wagnon Park that were slated to be demolished, and we were given the clear to gather materials.
We are in this beautiful, amazing setting that's behind me, so tropical. There's alligators and manatees. There's a community called Sulphur Springs that we're working in, and a history, a deep history in this neighborhood. And so we're pulling in those histories and those narratives to create a music box that is particular to Tampa and its residents.
Yeah, so basically each of these panels are their floor or a wall or a roof, and each one will get stacked together and kind of put into place, clamp it together, and then weld it on, and then move on to the next piece, weld it on, and at certain points they'll be, instead of welded, we'll just have to drill new holes and bolt it together so it can come apart later.
The original idea for the Syphonium came from a project that Devon had worked on many years ago for the Bonk Festival. So when we got the invitation to participate in the Music Box project, and we found out that it was going to be in Sulphur Springs on the river, it all made sense for us to work on using his original idea because of its use of water and compressed air and the connection to the river.
You have a water source above that's feeding these pipes. The water comes in the center of each assembly. These tubes coming off are the siphon tubes. So as the water rises in the pipe, it rises here at the same time. So when the water level in the pipe reaches this breakover point, it starts to siphon, and it siphons the water out of the pipe. As it's being fed in, it's coming up to this top level, and then it's draining back down, so there's a constant flux in the water level of the pipe. And you'll hear what that causes in regards to the pitch, that there's a constant pitch change going on. I'm going to fill it up first, and then we'll be able to hear what happens. So when we have a couple of those assemblies running together, you get this interference going on with the pitches of the pipes.
Of architectural drawings, just in general. That's what my work is, my body of work. My art practice is talking about architecture and just the built environment and sort of how we move through space and how the space changes. What I'm interested in is how to expand space.
So from a design standpoint, I'm really excited to see Alyssa's project. I think it's just so pretty, the structure. I love the way it works, how it has the void on one side and the two levels. So I'm really excited to see that come in action and people interacting with it.
What I did in the design is to create these sliding doors so that make sound, so that visually you see the architecture changing based on the sound. So that just kind of is in tandem with my art practice already in general. To just make modular spaces. So these doors will be musical, and then these floorboards in here will be musical as well. Someone will be in here and they will sort of jump around, dance, and then each one of these floorboards will have a sound connected to it so that your movement will affect the architecture itself.
So I actually did a bunch of experiments at my studio back in Brooklyn. I tried to make pneumatic floors where when you stepped on a floor tile, the tiles would sink and blow air through a whistle. But that wasn't quite satisfying. And then I remembered the Nightingale floors in Kyoto and made these mechanical noisemakers that rub two pieces of wood together when you step on the floor. And that turned out to be a really interesting sound, and you can get all kinds of variations on it based on how hard you jump or bounce or shift your weight on the floors. So once we had that, we decided that was successful and we went with it.
What I'm most looking forward to is Tori's Dirt Lab, which is everyday gardening tools that are fastened with noise-making devices and they suddenly become instruments. And the possibilities are just endless for what people will do with that. It's anything they want. There's no holds barred. It's great.
For me, the challenge was really trying to find a way to make the instrument not only sound better, but also to, being somehow engaging to the participants. Are they going to enjoy using this thing? And it was a real struggle, but that's where working with these other sound musicians really kind of helped out, because I was able to kind of watch them. I was able to go for them for information, just in terms of, how the different strings worked and what I needed to do to make that sort of make the right tones. So those were the two big challenges for me on this.
Sometimes it's challenging because there's a lot of physical work that maybe we weren't expecting as much, but in the end it's really fun. We like shovel things and drilling holes, and it's really a lot of fun.
I don't have too much experience with a lot of the machinery that we're using, but as the artists teach us more about it, it's getting a bit easier, and it's becoming a pretty good experience for learning new tricks of trade so that you could put into use for future projects or future work.
What if you could do a fretless bass kind of thing?
Literally, we would have people come by on the river, namely Joe, who came by on his barge and was sort of like, what are you guys doing over there? And hey, do you need any help? And he just started coming and helping us. And he actually developed a point of access for the river so that people could actually come to the site via boat.
It's been cool seeing everything behind the scenes, but it'll be great to see the different performances that we've got each weekend. So really looking forward to that.
I think it'll be very rewarding at the end to see all of our hard work paying off in the end product, in the performances.
I'm just so excited for it to begin. I want the people to come and to see their reaction to the project and see how hard we've worked on it. I want to listen to it, especially that's what intrigues me the most, because right now we can see the architecture and the art aspect of it, but we haven't yet experienced the music part of it, which I think is very exciting.
So the site becomes a cultural space, and it's able to be programmed with all sorts of cultural activities. We saw that as an opportunity to really kind of expand the disciplines and take it not only out to not only program the space with musical performances, but also to bring in spoken word.
She couldn't whistle, but she sang beautifully. She didn't even know what beautiful was.
Give them a sound, a loud sound, and not a soft, innocent hum that abhors upon this mission where their sounds are still overlooked.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are the members of the Heard 'Em Say Youth Arts Collective from Music Box Tampa Bay. Please give them a round of applause.
Whenever you have to take down an exhibition or any sort of, temporary project, there's always a little bit of sadness to see it all kind of go away. And this one happened really quickly, so it was like, we did the last day, and literally that following day we started the deinstallation.
It's just the beginning of these relationships that we've built over the past month, that not only collaborating with everybody here, but we've just been living together basically full-time for a month, just out here on the site, going through all kinds of frustrations and triumphs, and I'm really proud of everybody and their commitment and their ingenuity and their resourcefulness and their talents. It's just really great. We've made some really, really great friends here.
Yeah. New Orleans Airlift talks about wanting to to produce wonder and awe, and I saw that so many times when people were first coming in, and to see so many people that I knew and people that I didn't know come in and have an amazing time and have something that was unique to Tampa and something that pushed them to think about what was possible here was an amazing experience.
It was really incredible to work with such a talented team of people so closely and so collaboratively, and to really see this project come to fruition after many, many months of planning and talking and emailing about it. A lot of people, are like, well, what's going to happen to these structures, and it's sad to see them go away, but I think that this is all going to live on in the relationships that have been made through this project. We've all made these connections that are going to last and carry us forward, and have brought together our different communities in new ways. And I think that's kind of what the crux of this project is that it's about making these connections, making these bridges between our communities, and flourishing from those.
What we created was so unusual, and that people were able to experience it in such different ways was just magical.